Hello and welcome back. As you can see there, we've got the Hornby APT from the early 80s here running on the railway, just creeping out of the station. I think I've got a really nice group of shots for you here as she makes her way around the layout. And that tilting action there on the cars as they go into the curves. So I'm not sure whether this was a terribly accurate model or not at the time. It's certainly a fun one. Terrific sound on the rails. And I think it's just such an interesting and fun item, very much of the period. Sweeping past the goods shed there and onto the incline. And it really is quite effortless. The motor is quite strong on here, driving from the centre of the group of models, of course. Lovely shape coming through there. Storming down into the curves. We'll take the power off a little bit to come back through the points. And hear it clattering over the track there. Terrific sound. And then storm towards camera and into this curve. Let's watch that tilt over. Through that excellent crossover behind the signal box there, and then into the station, and then we'll have a nice gentle stop at the end of the platform. And now I've got the 5-car set on the bench just for a quick look. So I thought I'd break it down like this to start with, and have a look at the coupling, how the different units are coupled together. So we've got this set here. So you can see the coupling on there. We'll have a look at the action of the tilting mechanism in a moment, but those two parts there clipped together to make that one bogie there. It's quite awkward to get it together and as one piece ready to run on a railway. I think the plastic is quite fragile. I think there's a crack developed in one of these tongues here. Let me put that down before I drop that one. So let's have a look at one half of the tongue of that set from the other end of the model there. You can see that just pushes in. It's like a bayonet fit there. But quite an interesting concept. So pop that down, and we'll just have a look at how the join on the ends of the power car here. So when the model came to me, it did have one of these was broken, and since another one has developed a break in it, although I don't think it's this one or one end of it. You see that's a much finer connection between the two models. You can see it is quite weak around those pins on each part of the model. But when I break it apart, we'll see if we can identify the broken one. So I think there's a lot of pressure on those pins and that little bit of plastic that hooks over the top. So I think it's definitely time to look out for some replacements. So there we have all 5 parts of the set. So let's just have a quick look over them individually. We'll not spend that amount of time on them. As I say, I think this is from a set R543, which was available 1980 to 83, and I think in 81 they all got a black band around the window to change the look of the model. If you have a look at the insert picture there, we will have a look at a catalogue a little bit later. Now the lights do light up, but you have to run very, very quickly or apply a lot of power to get them to show up in these lighting conditions. Perhaps too much power to keep the model on the rails. So we can see we've got pickups at opposite sides there, so we can get the pickup for the lighting. Sadly, there's no connection through for these pickups to assist the motor, so we'll see the power car in a moment. Let's see if I can get some focus on there. I'm not. We're getting the focus on there. Made in Great Britain and Hornby. So it's quite a lovely piece of moulding. You can see in the bottom there, you can see how that mechanism works, and it sort of rolls. And you've got these, I don't know what you would refer to those to try and limit or control its angle as it rolls into the curves. You can see from that side there, quite a lot of flex in there. So the idea is that bogie, I think, sits flat on the rails, and the coaches roll across the top of the bogie as it goes around the corners. And quite an interesting bodywork. This train pack has seen quite a bit of action. You can just see through the windows; they are tinted. Let's have a look through there. It's sustained a few crashes, I think, in its time. So just one last look under the bottom there. So the paintwork's not even on these models, so some parts of it look glossier than others. So I'm not sure there's a sort of an issue with the painting, slight blotchiness in the paint. So I'll just have a look over there. So it's an amazing amount of detail within these. See, this one has square section wheels on it, rather than metal axles like the front part, the front car, driving car. Is it called a driving trailer or driving trailer or van trailer? I can never remember which way round that is. So again, we've got let's see if we can get better focus there. It likes that, but then it gets a bit lost when you look at the grey, doesn't it? Let's try that again. So we do have made in Great Britain on the bottom. There we can see silver seal wheels in there. Is that a round axle one? I think there are some round axles, so I think it's probably been through some wheel changes in its time. I'm not sure whether these are the original. So we have square sections on one end and round sections on the other end. The diameter of the wheels seems to be the same from what I can see. And interesting, we have blue seats in there and slightly pink seats in that one, and that's the same at the other end of the model. Again, I apologise, I'm probably not describing the parts of the model correctly at all. So let's have a look at the power car. It sits in the centre of the model. Some quite intricate detail across the top end of the model here. So just enough to sort of keep it looking interesting, really. Now, I'm not going to dismantle this any further than this. When I did get the model, I dismantled it fully, serviced the motor. It was a bit of a hesitant runner, but it's an appalling model to dismantle and reassemble. They really were doing their best to do everything with plastic clips, and I don't think the plastic has improved any with age. So it's I'm only going to dismantle this again if it's absolutely necessary. So got traction tyres on the one side, so we pick up on that side and pick up on that side. So you've got the diagonal pickup, which accounts for the little slowdown over the diamond crossing. So it's not quite as good as it could be, I don't think. So it would be nicer to have pickup on both sides of the model, I think. But I think this was quite a popular way of doing it. This is the one that has a slight break in it. So I have already replaced one of these on this model, and I now need to replace another. You can see how that tension builds up in there. Then there is I don't know whether that'll rotate far enough. There is a little pin. And is it a split washer that goes over the top, sits and holds those in? There's some quite interesting detail. City of Derby on the side there. I think these are quite soft, these sides. So some of them look like they've been pushed in. They're slightly collapsed a little. So I think they rest against a frame. And there's the pantograph. I think this is the same pantograph as used on the other models of the pantograph, although the base might be different. This is a plastic base. I seem to remember it's a metal base in the other ones, but the top part may be the same. It looks very similar. I've decided to run it with it down because it just catches onto things. Whilst it looks better up, it does catch on to things. It doesn't like the girder bridge. And if you put it part down at some points, it just jumps up and then causes an accident. So we've left that off there. If you have a look at the service sheet there, you'll be able to see the motor assembly and so on. But yeah, let's put that down before we drop it. That's the fragile one with these bits on the top. We'll have a look at the. Here we go. Either the van trailer or the driving trailer. I'm not sure which is which. Again, this one has the pink seats in it. Again, it's a lovely thing. I imagine possibly at the time, a bit like the HST, it might have been the must-have thing at the beginning, but then as it didn't quite get the success on the real railways it was after, maybe it suffered a little as a model. So we'll just look over the other side there. Again, see all that's clipped in. Again, that has the pickups for the lights. On there you've got the metal axles there. I think possibly if all of the wheels were like this on the model, it might be a better runner. Perhaps I have to look into finding a complete set. Maybe it had a complete set like that at one time, but somebody definitely seems to have put plastic axles in, some of them square and some of them round. So yeah, interesting model. And we'll just have a look at the last part now. Yeah, this one's had a bit more of a tumble. I think you can see some distortion in there where it's been pushed in and pushed out again, I think. So again, we've got this sort of very light blue seating in this one. A little bit of scuffing on the roof. And again, I think we have square sectioned. Is that round section? No, they're square sectioned silver seal wheels, aren't they? On both parts of this particular model. And we've got the Made in Great Britain in focus or out of focus, I'm not quite sure. But again, interesting model. I think it was one. I wasn't going to get one, and I thought I probably should. Of course, now I think probably I should have the one with the black windows as well, the black window stripe, but you never know. So there she is, sitting in the platform, and I think we'll just try and follow her around the once handheld and see if we can get a couple of interesting shots. Let's give that a bit of power and move her out past the King George. Let's see if I can get ahead of her and see it tilt as she comes through these points outside the station. See each one of those cars righting itself after the curve. Now, I'm sure I've read in the instructions somewhere that I downloaded that it's to be avoided running it through one curve after the other, as it might not be able to cope the catching up. Sorry, I've lost the train completely there. And we've got a little bit of a bank going on there on the wagons, the coaches, sorry. Let's see if we can get that going through the points there. Quite a nice shot. If I step over the cables behind me, let's just give that a little bit more power. Let's see if we can catch that coming around that curve. Yeah, perhaps not doing as good a job as trying to keep hold of that. I'm trying to look for too many things happening in one go rather than just following the model around the railway. I think we'll just concentrate on just having a look at it running through the railway rather than trying to capture the tilting mechanism in action. So there's a tiny stutter on that diamond crossing. Again, I think the pickups aren't best suited for this. So let's get it coming around the other side here. And then back into the station there. Yeah, it can be a little unhappy on the point work. Ideally it would have a great deal many more pickups, but as we've seen on the bench. So I'm just going to rotate the camera around there and we'll have a quick look at the couple of catalogues. So I think my version comes from 1980 because it doesn't have the black band extending right around the window and the additional branding and writing on the front here. Let's just grab a couple of these catalogues. So we won't go through all of them. as I'm sure we've seen through these in the recent past. Let's have a look at the 1981. Look at that nice fisheye picture there on the front cover. Let me see if I can just widen the camera a little so we can see a bit more of what's going on. There's tremendous shots. Obviously, fisheye photography was all the thing in 1980. There we go. So I think in this year it was just available as a set to start with this large oval of track and a tunnel, what seems to be a power controller of some description there. And there's a list of contents of the set there. You see the pantograph there. So I think I mentioned already I decided to run it without the pantograph down, so we can't pick up power from the overhead, and it tends to keep it springing into a place. And just like this design of pantographs we've seen in the past, it catches on things, so it's unreliable. It definitely catches on that girder bridge. So I think the best place for it is just in the down position, really. But again, it's quite an impressive looking model, I think. Very much of its time. Let's just have a look at the nose of that model again, sitting there. So the model in the catalogue seems to have a great deal more detail on the front end than this model I've got here, doesn't it? I don't know whether it's just more pronounced on the model in the catalogue. Let's see if we can get both of them together here and have a look. Yeah, maybe it's just more pronounced on the model in the catalogue. Let's have a look there. And then it's turned into very, very fine sort of moulding lines, barely visible. You've got to get the light in just the right place for them to show up. Let's just jump back over here. So I think in 1981 it gained the black stripe right around the window. We'll have a look at that catalogue. Actually, let's just look at the two of them side by side now, because I don't want to go right the way through the 1980 catalogue. So let's go for the sets at the beginning, because in 1981 it became available as a train pack. So originally just 543 advanced passenger train set. I think that was available up into the 80 to 83, but obviously with the black band fully around the window to potentially improve its appearance. I'm not entirely sure which one I think is better looking, but I think they're both quite great looking models. So, or a group of models, shall we call them? It's a collection of models rather than a singular model, isn't it? Let's just have a quick look through here. So you've got track packs here. So it is available as a train pack. So it's got the 5-car set, but without smoke units in evidence here, but without track. I don't think it came with a controller either, but I have been on the lookout for a secondary one. So is that's the Cheshire. We saw that running on the railway quite recently, didn't we? Yeah, I should have marked the page so we don't have to go through them quite so extensively, but yeah, let's have a look. The Stowe. Yeah, we had that on the railway recently, and the SR Battle of Britain class locomotive Spitfire there, looking absolutely splendid on the page. So definitely getting bogged down in stuff again, but this is what happens when you open up the catalogues. It's a later version of the Mallard. I think it was painted perhaps by the time it got to this stage. I must have missed the train pack, I think. Have I? Ah, here we go. Here's the train pack and the HST. So you have to run this model very, very quickly to get the lights to light up. I think we saw it on the bench. They do light up, but you've got to give it an awful lot of power for that to come alive. So here we go. We've got the advanced passenger train pack here. So it's got the driving trailers, the van trailers, and the power car. So no track and no controller. So perhaps a better way to buy the group of models, perhaps. So maybe I'll be lucky enough and we'll come across one of those. It'd be nice to have one with a box around it. Completely unnecessary, of course, because we do have a group of models which we've already seen running. So I think we'll just put those catalogues down. It was available via the catalogue houses with a variety of different sets and numbers. I'm not entirely sure of those. I think there was quite a number of them. Let me just close out point number 1B there. What have I done? I wasn't looking, I did something. Anyway, so we've got 1B closed, so I'll get her out onto the main line and perhaps we can have a little bit of excess speed. We will, which way around? No, we'll leave that, sorry, I'm not thinking right. So the route I've got set, we'll get her onto the main line, then we'll close her out, because I think the route set goes through that nice crossover behind the station. Let's give that a little bit more power. Let's see if we can follow her from a different set of angles perhaps this time. There we go, through that set of points. Could sound a bit happier, I suppose. There she goes. Let's see if we can get a bit wider shot of her going over the bridge. And off she goes. Let's bring that to a stop at the station there, and then I'll just adjust the point work as I was going to. Keep that in one hand, so that closes out the main line to the elevated section, inside line and 1B. So let's see if we can give it a little bit of extra power. Excuse me, I think I just bashed into the microphone. So here we go. Let's stay quite elevated. So I won't wind it up along here, but we'll get it round to this next section. Pretty good. That was quite quick. I'm just going to calm it down now back into these curves because I already know it can be temperamental here and it's not recommended. And let's give that another go. And we'll calm that down again. But I think that's probably it for this week. Thanks again for watching. Hope you've enjoyed seeing this fun group of models together, the APT. And if you look back again next time, we'll have something else interesting to look at. Goodbye now.